You can't handle the truth.
I told you, man. I told you. Don't fuck with me.
Independence Day. Are you actually independent, or is there something even deeper and more sinister about this holiday? While they give you the illusion that America is land of the free and home of the brave, and while they continuously also give you the illusion that America declared independence from Britain, hence the term Independence Day, is America really free? Not exactly, because what they'll never tell you is that the United States is actually a corporation that's been bought out and sold out by the bankers and the elite at the very top. And with the corporation also comes debt, and with debt also comes the payment of taxes and loans. And even according to Cornell Law, U.S. Code Title 28, Part 6, Chapter 176, Subchapter A in Section 3002, if you look at number 15A, you'll see that it's defined as the United States being a federal corporation. This corporation was also enacted in the Act of 1871 as of 2/21/1871 when the 41st Congress decided to pass an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia as of Section 34, Session 3, and Chapter 62 when the corporation known as the United States was in fact formed. But do you know who owns the corporation of the United States? Yes, none other than Great Britain, because Great Britain to this day collects taxes from the American people. And according to the IRS publication 6209, the U.S. is in fact owned by Britain, and the 1040 form that's used to pay for taxes is paid to for Britain and is a payment of a tax to the United Kingdom. So did America really even gain independence in 1776? The answer is of course no, they did not. Slavery still exists even in the world to this day. Because when you're told to go to work, when you're paying for items using paper dollars that are printed by the Federal Reserve, and when you're being told how much to buy or pay for something, when you're being told when to go to work and when to go on break, when you're being told when you can have time off and take time off from work, and when you have to be forced to be paid taxes, debt, interest, and loans, all of which are unconstitutional, by the way, these are the definitions of slavery. And isn't that what they supposedly fought against during that time, was to fight against imposed taxes and big greedy banks? Weren't they fighting against these things hundreds of years ago, only to find them once again reinstituted hundreds of years later? So again, I question, are you really free, and is that really what you're celebrating? Also, another fun fact, contrary to popular belief, the British actually left America following the Jay Treaty that was effective in 1796, 20 years after supposed independence. And also, so-called independence was actually declared 2 days earlier on the 2nd, when Continental Congress declared its freedom from Britain on the 2nd and not the 4th. And we know that this was part of the illusion to make us think that we're free and independent, that really we're not. And even during that time in the 1770s, there were still so-called African Americans who were enslaved then. So if it was actually the 2nd when Congress approved the resolution and delegates from New York were given permission to make a unanimous vote, why is it then that Independence Day, so-called, is celebrated on the 4th instead as a traditional national holiday? What you will find is that this rabbit hole goes much deeper than we think, and that the 4th actually attributes to the worship of the star, the worship of Sirius. Now, every single year, celestially speaking, around this exact time, the sun makes a perfect alignment with the star Sirius. Now, Sirius is also said to be one of the brightest stars of the sky and is also commonly known as the dog star. And the reason this is so important and the reason they changed it to the 4th to be recognized as a holiday, or should I say holiday, is because when the sun and Sirius align, we know that in the occult, when there is an alignment of the stars, and specifically this time of year, all the time, when the sun and Sirius align like this, it is very significant to the occult and represents doorways opening, portals opening, and it also represents what? Demonic sun worship. And that's what this is attributed to with the mystery of iniquity. And what they actually do behind closed doors is they worship Sirius, the star, the Satan star, or the dog star. Ironically enough, dog spelled backwards, you get the word God, and is the brightest star also. We know that star worship and sun worship is nothing new under the sun, because star worship has been worshipped thousands and thousands of years in ancient cultures, such as even in places like Egypt, Russia, Mexico, Wales, Arabia, Iran, Ireland, Spain, Rome, and many other places that's seen throughout history for thousands and thousands of years. But we even see star worship embedded in different places, religiously and non-religiously, in all different types of places. We even see it attributed to the flag of Israel and the Star of David. And by the way, King David had nothing to do with this symbol whatsoever, because scripture tells us in Amos chapter 5 verses 26 and Acts chapter 7 verses 43 that it is an abominable symbol indeed. But yet we see the stars once again, and we see subliminal star worship even in places embedded all over today in symbols and logos such as BET, and companies such as Macy's and Starbucks and even Walmart, and even embedded on your dollar bill and also on the Hollywood stars, which of course attributes all the way back to ancient sun worship, but is seen today alive and well with the pentagram and even satanic Baphomet worship, because that's where the star and star worship originates from. And that's why the history of the flags of the United States, that's why you see nothing but stars on them from 1777 onward, because what do these stars represent? And note how the very first one had exactly 13 of them, just like it has 13 stripes, and we know that number is very significant to the occult indeed, and from then on it's been nothing but stars and just stars. And it's not just on company logos or your dollar bill. You even see stars on many of countries' flags such as Somalia, Vietnam, Cameroon, and the list goes on. You see the star prevalently too in Islam. And when you look at the 39 U.S. historical flags of the United States of America, you see stars and nothing but stars, but you see that some of the designs even look just like stars in them. So while they give you the illusion that the 4th is all about having independence and celebrating freedoms that you really don't have, and fireworks and picnics and games and festivals, as we have just proven, this is a much more sinister holiday, because partaking in such activities is actually commemorating the star worship, the worship of Sirius, the worship of Satan. And just like pledging allegiance to the flag, who are you pledging allegiance to? Is this really a form of patriotism, or is this a form of brainwashing? Because who are you giving allegiance to? Who are you pledging allegiance to under God? Well, which God are you giving allegiance to? Definitely not the Creator, Yahuwah, and His Son, Yahusha. Because scripture tells us that we are not to take oaths or vows whatsoever. So who are you really pledging to when you're saying the Pledge of Allegiance and also pledging to different societies and Greek fraternities and sororities? Who are you really worshiping is the question, because yes, the Sirius star, which is what the 4th is all about, is used for satanic star worship and also sun worship too, that was done thousands of years ago. We just see the mystery of iniquity repackaged all over again while giving the illusion of freedom, which is no different than Mystery Babylon and sun Baal worship that we see all over again in modern Rome and in modern Vatican and all over the world, with Egyptian monuments and statues depicting the phallic symbols and phallic worship. And as we talked about with all the star logos everywhere, how this is a worship of Molech, the star of Molech, the worship of Satan himself, literally, along with sun worship. And this is being partaken of even on this day, on this holiday. So the next time you think about celebrating the 4th and the independence that you actually do not have, you'll know exactly what America, what the United States really is and what it truly is defined as. And the next time you think about going to fireworks and seeing the fireworks, you'll see exactly what they mean and why they look like stars, what these stars attribute to, and what they're actually celebrating, and who they're actually giving homage to.